Hey y'all, welcome to the live. Hey y'all. I'm starting out by putting on something on my lips to moisturize them. This is the Tom Ford Rose Lip Oil Tint. Hi Didi Mona, welcome to the live. Good to see you, how are you? I'm just doing a quick get ready with me. I'm going to church in a little bit, moisturizing my lips with this Tom Ford lip oil. And I have some new Hermès makeup that I wanted to use on camera today. I hope everyone's Sunday is going well. It's a really, really nice day here in Southern Cali. I'm just doing a quick brow using this Benefit Precisely My Brow, and I am in the shade 4. I usually like to already have my brows done before hopping on here just because I feel like it's kind of a boring step, but didn't have time today, so oh well. And I don't have any Hermès brow products. I don't think Hermès makes any brow products. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the only other makeup product that, like a main one that I'm using that's not Hermès today, is concealer, just because Hermès doesn't make a concealer that I know of. So I do have a new Suku concealer that I will be using on camera today. I switch up my brow products just depending on my mood, honestly. Sometimes I use a brow powder, sometimes I use a brow pen, sometimes I stick with a pencil like this. Just kind of depends on the look I'm going for. Sometimes I'm just feeling more of a softer brow, so then I will go in with a powder. If I want like a more sparse brow, because I'm not doing like a full face of makeup, I might just do a couple of hair strokes with a brow pen. But I do feel like a lot of times mixing up different brow products gives you like the most natural look. Kind of just depends on your brows in general. Hi Danielle, thank you for joining. How are you? Welcome to the Sunday Live. Just getting ready real quick for church. Heading out in a little bit, and I wanted to try out some of these new Hermès products that I just picked up because Bloomingdale's was having a sale. So the only Hermès product that I had prior to this was the bronzer. So I do have this Plein Air Natural Enhancing Complexion Balm. It's a broad spectrum of SPF 30. And I have the shade 50 Palomino. So I'm curious to know if anybody has tried this. It's a good shade for my skin tone right now, as you can see. Hey, Owl Food A Lover 23. Thank you so much for joining the live. It's so good to see you. How are you? How's everyone's Sunday going? I'm doing a full face of Hermès today. And I'm going to be using the Suku concealer because I don't have an Hermès concealer because I don't think that Hermès has a concealer. So I'm just going to be going in with my Bisotto 517. This is a synthetic brush that I've been enjoying lately. And I've been liking this skin tint. It's kind of like, it's not really a full-on foundation. It does provide a little bit more coverage than like a skin tint, I would say. It's almost kind of like a tinted moisturizer. I appreciate the fact that it has SPF 30. Hi, thank you so much for joining the live. How are you? How's everyone's Sunday? I'm using this Hermès. This is their Natural Enhancing Complexion Balm. I just started. This is the first step other than my brows that I'm doing today for this Get Ready With Me. This is on your wish list. Oh, the Bisotto synthetic brush. Okay. Oh, Bobo's having a Black Friday sale. I didn't even know that. Thank you for telling me. Yes, I highly recommend this brush, actually. Hey, thank you so much for joining the live. How are you, Yasmin? It's so good to see you. So I'm using this Hermès Natural Enhancing Complexion Balm. How does this one compare to Chantecaille? Ooh, that's a good question. I have the Chantecaille one right here. At least I have it in the old formula. Maybe I'll just like, I wonder if I can, maybe I'll just use the Chantecaille on my forehead just for kicks. What do you think? To see if I can kind of at the same time explain what the difference is. I will say they're really similar. They remind me of each other. Does the skin tint have a scent? Not a detectable one. Not one that stands out to me. It's not very obvious, if anything. It just smells like, probably just like the product itself, maybe a little bit of the sunscreen scent, but not one that stands out, not one that bothers me, which is a good thing. It's very slight, if anything. Same with the Chantecaille one. I don't smell a detectable scent in the Chantecaille one. If anything, it's so slight, it's even hard to say. So they're really similar, the Hermès and the Chantecaille skin tints. I want to say maybe the Chantecaille one is a tiny bit glowier, but I also tend to use a mattifying primer, so they both end up having pretty much the same type of natural finish. As you can see, neither one is super glowy. They're so similar to each other. And I will say, so what I do like about the Hermès one that's standing out to me right away, at least in the shade that I purchased it in, which is shade 50, is that I like the undertone better. It does have more of a neutral undertone than this Chantecaille one. This Chantecaille one is in the shade tan, but I also have shade wheat. And I will say they lean a little warm. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit on like the yellowy orangey side in comparison to the Hermès one. So there's that. Another thing that I like better about the Hermès one is that this one has an SPF of 30 and the Chantecaille one has an SPF of only 15. So that's a plus. Other than Sisley's tinted moisturizer, that is a similar, it's in a similar squeezy tube like this. Other than that one, I don't know too many others that have as high of an SPF as 30. So I do really enjoy and appreciate that in Hermès's. As far as the amount of product that okay, so this Hermès one is actually made in Japan. I didn't know that. That's an interesting fact. It has 12.4% titanium dioxide. So if anybody has any allergies. Okay, so the Chantecaille one has 10.622% titanium dioxide. This is 1.7 fluid ounces here for the Chantecaille one, and this Hermès one has 1.35 fluid ounces. As far as the coverage goes, it's hard to say. I feel like maybe the Hermès one has a touch more coverage, but just a touch. They almost have an equal amount of coverage, I would say. But yeah, I would say the main thing that I'm really noticing is the undertone in them. So I appreciate the fact that Hermès is, at least in the shade 50 that I picked up, is not super orange. The Chantecaille one might come in more shades though, because I don't think I saw very many shades in the Hermès one. Oh, you're welcome. Of course. Thank you for asking. Okay, last year Bobo had a 20% off Black Friday sale, so fingers crossed she's gonna have it again. Yes, certainly. I'm hoping for the same. Wow, that's a good deal. Okay, so because I don't have a concealer from Hermès, let's use the Suku one. I just ordered this Suku one not too long ago. It's in the shade 22. And I got this from Toshiya at Fude Japan, but you can also get it online from Selfridges, I believe. Hi, thank you so much for joining the live. How are you? Hello, welcome, welcome. How's everyone doing? How's everyone's Sunday? I am just going in with the Suku concealer in the shade 22, and I just put on some of this Hermès and Chantecaille tinted moisturizer. I have the Hermès one on my cheeks and the Chantecaille one on my forehead because somebody asked how they compared, so I just decided to put them both on kind of last minute here, impromptu. So how am I liking the concealer? I'm loving the concealer. The Suku concealer has really been impressing me, honestly. And I'm really happy that the shade I picked up is working out really well for my skin tone. As you can see, it's slightly warm, but not too warm. And it's perfect to kind of color correct a little bit underneath my eyes here, as you can see, but it's also like not so warm to the point where I can't use it in other parts of my face. Because sometimes if the concealer I'm using underneath my eyes has too much of a pinky tone, I like that to color correct my under eye circles and hyperpigmentation, but I don't always like it to spot conceal. How do I like the Hermès? I've been really enjoying this Hermès one. It's more on the side of a skin tint. So the amount of coverage it has is really comparable to this Chantecaille Just Skin tinted moisturizer here. They're very similar. The Sublimage concealer is on your wish list. Oh my gosh. Yes, the Sublimage concealer and the foundation are pricey, but totally worth it. They are really similar. Actually, the Suku concealer really does remind me of the Chanel Sublimage concealer. And the most impressive quality of these two concealers, which I would say like nowadays are probably in my top 2 out of like all the concealers I have in my collection, which says a lot. But what really impresses me about these two luxury formulas is that they really don't crease, y'all. Like they really don't crease. It's crazy. I don't know how they do it, but like I'll try to get like really close up here, like uncomfortably close, so that you can see on camera, like hopefully close enough for you to see my wrinkles. But I promise I have wrinkles underneath my eyes. But like I could get away with not powdering this, even though I always powder because I do have an oilier T-zone. But look at that. Like any other concealer would have already been a lot more creasy underneath my eyes. And with these two concealers, both of them are just really impressive. They last really well throughout the day. So like that's really impressive about especially this Chanel Sublimage foundation and concealer, is the fact that I can put them on in the morning and then come home, walk my dogs twice throughout the day, you know, on a hot day. And it's essentially as if like I had just applied this. It's kind of crazy. Girl, what wrinkles? Thank you. Okay, so in the Chanel Sublimage, I have the shade 40. And in the Suku, I have the shade 22, and I'll swatch them to compare them for y'all. So this is the shade 22. They're similar, I would say, in shade. I haven't put them next to each other yet, but you have to start wearing your Chanel one. I have it, but don't use it. Yeah, it's in a jar. Right, I agree. Like, sometimes it's just too much of a hassle to deal with it when you're in a rush. Like, pull out the jar and all that. It's the one downside of this concealer, I will say, that it can get a little bit messy because of the jar that it's in, but it's so good. Like this is one that I will like pull out on special occasions or just if I'm feeling bougie. But here's the shade 40 in the Chanel one, and in the Suku one, shade 22. Maybe just like based on what I'm feeling here, the Chanel one might feel like a little bit more emollient. It might have just a tad bit more coverage. A little bit goes a really long way in the Chanel one. In the Suku one, it feels a little bit more lightweight, maybe not as much coverage. You can tell that the Chanel one is still slightly warmer, which I actually like. I really don't mind it. But this one is good for brightening. So I could even like put these two together and just kind of use the Chanel one in a more... Do you see how it like... It provided a little bit more coverage right there for my hyperpigmentation, but I just tapped on a little bit of the Chanel Sublimage. Maybe it has to do too because it's a little bit more orangey in tone, but I also really like that about this shade 40. So yeah, I will say probably the most difficult part about the Chanel is maybe finding your right shade. But if you do find your right shade, then it's amazing. Highly recommend it. And I'm sure you can even use this all over the face as foundation. I just don't because, I mean, I have the Sublimage foundation too, and I really like that. But it would also be beautiful. Hi, Fude Collection. Welcome to the live. I'm just comparing the Chanel Sublimage concealer to the new Suku concealer that I just picked up. Chanel complexion products do not play with their expiration dates. I had the Sublimage foundation, was too scared to use it because it was too nice, and it went off on me within a year. Oh wow, that's good to know. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that. So that's a good thing to know. Yeah, I'm trying to like use my products more. That's definitely something I've been working on because I'm the same way, Yasmin. Like when I have something that I consider like super special, it's hard for me to pick it up all the time, like on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, I feel you. So I'm gonna just start to say YOLO and use it more often, certainly, before it goes bad. So, okay, here we go. So going in again with the Bisiero 517 and just making sure that's all kind of nice and spread in. And that we have no harsh lines here. Yeah, I'm curious if anybody else has this Bisiero 517. I've really been enjoying it. I've been really impressed by this brush, even though it's all synthetic. It's super soft, not pokey on the skin at all. All right, so now that we have the foundation on, let's go in with a little bit of powder. So I was extra and picked up 2 of the La Prairie powders, the loose setting powders. Because this is a full face of Hermès, I also have the Hermès Plein Air compact setting powder. So the way I've been liking to use this powder is to just kind of set my concealer. I'm using this Koyudo Yoshiki brush here from Fude Bobo as well. And I like to just kind of preliminarily set my concealer like so. I just do kind of a thin layer. And then if I feel like it's not enough, I'll go back in with the La Prairie loose setting powder or any other setting powder that I have. I've been enjoying the La Prairie one. It's new to my collection. It's not new, but people were recommending it left and right, so I had to pick it up. Okay, good question. Why did I buy 2 of the La Prairie ones? So it actually, I didn't mean to. I was torn between 2 shades actually. And I have the shade Translucent 2 and Translucent 0. I had originally ordered the shade Translucent 2, or Translucent 0, but they sent me Translucent 2. So then I ordered Translucent 0 again, and they sent me the right shade. So now I just have 2, and I just got them in, so I'm still torn like about Translucent 2. I might send it back. I'm not sure though, just because like I do like Translucent 2 for all over my face, and I've been enjoying Translucent 0 to set my T-zone. Oh, you have Translucent 2? Okay, what do you think about it? now I'm wondering if I need translucent 1, to be honest with you, because now I have 0 and 2, but they also have a shade in between. You're still working through your old La Prairie formula. Yeah, so what's funny is that I went to go pick up the La Prairie concealer, and I swear I picked up like the last one that existed because they discontinued it right around the same time, and I was able to pick up the very last one that Nordstrom carried. This is in the shade 5, but I haven't used it on camera just because you can't get it anymore. So, but that concealer is probably one of the best ones I've ever used. Have I used their foundation? I have used the La Prairie foundation. I tried it in their old formula though, not the new reformulated version. So, it's good. I like it, but honestly, like, it's pretty hard to beat the Chanel Sublimage foundation, in my opinion. That one is just so good. Same with the Clé de Peau, the foundation. That one's like goated. So I've really been enjoying those. And when I first tried the La Prairie foundation, I just kind of felt like it sat on my skin and didn't really blend in or sink in as nicely and become like as skin-like as other foundations like the Sublimage and the Clé de Peau one. So that's kind of the only difference I would say that I noticed, but I have not gone in and like tried the new reformulation, and it is kind of tricky to find my right shade just because the swatches online are not really the best. So I'm just going in with a little bit of this cream contour stick here by Makeup by Mario. This is in the shade medium, just to do kind of a preliminary little bit of contour here. Not doing too much. I'm not trying to go overboard. This is just going to be kind of like a lighter makeup situation, making sure my light is all on and the lighting is okay. The La Prairie is too bougie for you. I totally understand what you're saying. You can find just as good of a powder pretty much like on the market for a lot less. Like the Huda Beauty, for instance, that's like definitely a holy grail powder for me. And as far as the foundation goes, like I said, Chanel has some great ones that aren't as much. La Prairie foundation had a good finish on me, but looked ashy. Had to layer with a warm powder to offset. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so thank you for sharing that, Yasmin. That was kind of like maybe what I was suspecting was a little bit off with the foundation when I tried it as well, but maybe it's because I just had too light of a shade. So I just like kind of gave up because it's just so expensive to buy, and like I do my shopping online most of the time. So I just kind of like didn't bother to try to reorder a different shade. But I know like with the powders, it was like kind of hard to go wrong. So I'm definitely a powder girly and I love powders. So I knew I would use it regardless. What's my favorite contour stick? I would say, thank you for asking. That's a good question. I would say the Westman Atelier one, like just right off the bat. I have the shade Truffle and Biscuit by Westman Atelier. I highly recommend these contour sticks. I use these all the time, which is why I didn't pick them up for today's look. I just try to switch up the products I have for y'all. But this is Truffle and this is Biscuit. So Truffle is just a little bit more warm. So just depending on your skin tone, but they both work for me. Love those. Highly recommend. Okay, you like those too, Yasmin? Good to know. Yeah, they're great, aren't they? So, so yeah, I like those. And then what's next? Let's do a little bit of bronzer. So back to the Hermès bronzer. This is a really, really lovely bronzer. Highly recommend it if y'all haven't tried it. I have the shade 3 Sahara here. This is their plein air bronzer, powder bronzer. And I'm using the new Rephr brush that I've really been enjoying for bronzer lately. It's nice and airy, but the way that the hairs are tapered up like this does give the brush a good amount of body and a nice diffused application. Have I tried the Dior contour sticks? Thank you for asking. No, I have not. I do have one on my wish list right now to pick up during the upcoming Sephora sale that is starting on November 1st. If y'all didn't already know, they just announced the dates will be November 1st to the 11th. So I have quite a few things on my wish list that I intend on picking up, and I've been eyeing the Dior contour sticks. I've heard good things about them. I decided I'll probably skip on the foundation stick that they also launched together with that collection, just because I have more oily leaning skin. So I have heard that the Dior foundation contour that the Dior foundation sticks, wow, excuse me, are like really emollient and not super oily skin friendly, and I prefer my face products to be more on the matte side. This powder does have a scent to it, so if you are allergic, or not allergic, but like sensitive to scents, skip this powder. Yeah, you got your wish list fired up too. Glad to hear. Yeah, Yasmin, you and I are the same in that it sounds like we try to hold out for those sales, because otherwise I would not be able to control myself. I would just like get every single new launch if I let myself. So that's kind of the way that I budget, is twice a year I allow myself to kind of go all out at the Sephora sale. But I don't know, with Fude Bobo's like launches lately and these price increases on Fude, it's kind of like there's so many things, right? Gonna try to cool it though. Black Friday will be popping. Exactly. This is when all the sales are happening, and it's like I want clothes, I want makeup, I want brushes. It's just all the things. Glad to hear I'm not alone. Okay, shall we do blush? Oh, y'all. Okay, so I picked up a couple of, this is not Hermès, but the new Chanel blushes. Who has tried the new Chanel blushes? I picked up 2 shades, Rouge Franc and Rose Ardente. I've really been enjoying these. They're interesting for Chanel. And there's the after holiday, the Lunar New Year stuff. Yeah, I want to pick up like nail polish, like all the things. Yeah, definitely. There's so many things, and it's just a matter of prioritizing. Dolce & Gabbana makeup is on your wish list, and they arrived at Macy's. Oh, shit. I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, and Macy's always has sales. They always have like 15% off, friends and family sales and stuff like that. So that's a really good time to pick that type of stuff out. I don't have any Dolce & Gabbana makeup, but I agree that it's also a brand that I've been meaning to explore. Yes, these are the cream ones. I like them. I love them. I've really been enjoying them. They are really highly pigmented. Okay, somebody else likes you. You also have been impressed by the Chanel blushes. Yeah, let me swatch these for you. This one's like the Ready shade 1. This one's really highly pigmented. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that just... Oh, it's beautiful. Chanel does have a scent in their products, so they just smell like your typical rose, Chanel rosy type of scent. It doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, that's an FYI. And then this one's just kind of like a cooler pink. Yeah, the shades that they came out with in these blushes are beautiful. Hey Cindy, welcome to the live. Thank you for joining. I'm doing a full face of Hermès here, but I had to show off these new Chanel blushes that I recently picked up. Aren't these shades just gorge? So, I don't know. Yeah, these are just, it doesn't really go along with the whole like Hermès only theme, but I'm just so tempted to show y'all. So I'm going to take, they are pretty, aren't they? This is the Coyuto brush, just to show you. And the blush that I'm going to be using by Hermès is in the shade 32 Rose Pommette. So they're kind of similar, aren't they? So these are good to layer over each other. I gotta get to the Atelier store. Yeah, I know. Oof. And you know, these might be limited edition too, because you know how Chanel is. Like, they're so like sneaky about when they make things limited edition. But I've been liking to layer these. You don't need to layer them, but so beautiful. Look at that. Just gorgeous, isn't it? Ugh, love. And then I'm just going to, let me see. I'll use this one that I just picked up from Fude Bobo. This is a white Canadian squirrel brush here. And why don't we just see how these compare? I'll put one on each cheek. I don't think I'm going to look crazy just because they're kind of in the same color family anyway, right? But these blushes are like so soft. They do have a slight scent to them as well. But it's slight and it's pleasant, so it doesn't bother me. But yeah, between these two formulas, I've just been, it's almost like, yeah, it's almost like the Chanel one is just like the cream to powder formula of this color. That's just, it's a straight up powder. But aren't they beautiful? So let's even like layer them on top of each other to see what effect that gives us. I'm just going to put a little bit of this Hermès one on top of my Chanel one I have on over here. And then just for kicks, why don't we try to layer the Chanel one over the Hermès one just to see. Yeah, the longer Raiden handles, they're really nice, aren't they? I also prefer these over the short ones. I'm really glad that Fude Bobo has these available to us. I also picked up one in the bunny black long handle as well recently. Beautiful brushes. I've really been enjoying them. They're so multifunctional. I like these for blush, highlighter, powder contour, so many things. So let's see how this layers right on top of the Hermès powder formula. Nice. It's not lifting up my foundation that I have on underneath. I've already powdered and it's still really working and playing well with the powder that I have underneath. Beautiful, isn't it? Just such an airbrushed, lovely finish. Just dragging across any of the leftover product on my nose and on my chin. Okay. I also picked up the highlighter from Hermès. This is in the shade 2 Coral Mojave. They have a pink one as well, and I was really torn. I was kind of going back and forth between which one I wanted, but I ended up settling on this one. And it's cool that you do get kind of like 3 shades in one, I will say. I have been enjoying this highlighter formula. I've been using it with this Koyuro Yoshiki brush here. This is the Kolinsky one. It's beautiful, gorgeous brush. Love this. And it's just a really gorgeous highlighter formula. It does not emphasize wrinkles at all. The way it just sits on the skin, it almost kind of reminds me of similar to Hourglass, where the powder is like super, super finely milled. And it's just really, really beautiful. It's not powdery at all. I'm just gonna go back in with my blush brush and make sure that's nice and blended in. Just like so. And then I'm just gonna go in with my NARS Ginger and just kind of color correct any area where I feel like my hyperpigmentation starts to show after I powder. This is what I have found to be the best way to spot conceal is after I've powdered, just because I could do it beforehand, but sometimes the products that I use move the concealer underneath around a little bit. No big deal. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the products. It just tends to happen. Okay. So now I'm just going to do a really quick nose contour here with this Natasha Denona contour powder in the shade medium. I prefer to use a contour powder over a cream, just because, like I said, the first thing to become oily is my T-zone, my nose, to be specific. So I just rather use a powder over a cream. And I just feel like it gives the most natural appearance. I try not to go too heavy with the creams and like the emollient formulas on my nose, just because I feel like that'll help give a more of a natural appearance to the skin. Oh, I bought my Natasha Denona contour powder on Beautylish. I know Sephora doesn't have it. It's a bummer. I'm not sure why, but Beautylish has a gift card event, like I think twice a year. And it's usually kind of around the same time as the Sephora sale too. So that's, they carry it. So that's where I try to get the Natasha Denona one, if you can pick it up at the gift card event, because during Beautylicious gift card event, you can get $20 cash back for every $100 that you spend. And you can also get points as well. Somehow I just got a bunch of foundation all over my hands. So if I don't wipe off these swatches right away, later they're just going everywhere. Which shade do I use? In the Natasha Denona contour powder, I use the shade medium. It's like the perfect shade for me. It's the perfect formula. It's not too pigmented. It's not too powdery. I just really, really, really enjoy this. This is like holy grail, top drawer. Like pretty much can't do my makeup without it. But another one that's comparable, I would say, is the Kevyn Aucoin contour powder in the shade medium as well. I also enjoy that one. And then the KVD contour powder palette, like contour and highlight palette. That one also has a good contour, a cool contour shade. Smashbox, the Smashbox Cali palette has a nice cool tone contour powder in there too. It's behind me. Hi, Sea Salt Waves. Welcome to the live. Thank you so much for joining. How are you? I'm just doing a full face of Hermès here and kind of showcasing some other products that I've been excited about recently as we go. And okay, so I did foundation, we did contour, we did blush, we did highlighter, did the brows. Why don't we go to lips? So I don't have a lip liner from Hermès, but a newer lip liner to my collection is this MAC one. It's in the shade Grwm, and I do think, thank you so much for the compliment. I do believe that this is a new shade to the MAC lip liner lineup, which they're just classic lip liners. I love MAC lip liners. Before this on my lips, I just put on this Tom Ford Rose Lip Oil Tint just to provide some moisture. So I'm just gonna wipe that off. And I like the shade Grwm. It kind of reminds me of the shade Stone, which I have right here. And then Cork. So if y'all are familiar with Cork and Stone, this is Cork. And then this one is Stone. I like MAC lip liners because they're not too like creamy. And I feel like sometimes if the lip liner is too creamy, it not only loses its staying power, but it also can kind of be more of an easier dead giveaway that you're wearing lip liner. Like if it has like a sheen to it, which those creamier ones do tend to have. These kind of stay put really well, which I enjoy. But yeah, those are the 3 shades together right there. And then I also have been liking the new, it's not new, it's new to me. Hi Alicia, thank you so much for joining the live. How are you? So I picked this Chanel one up recently in the shade 162 Nude Brun, and it's kind of like a My Lips but better shade. So I kind of like to combine a cooler tone lip liner with one that is closer to my skin tone. So swatched up against the Grwm shade that I just used by MAC is this one in the shade 162. This one is so long wearing, the Chanel one. It is less dry of a formula, but it's super, super long wearing. What I have noticed is that it doesn't sharpen as nicely as those MAC ones. And I want to say it's probably due to the fact that like this really is like a true like pencil. And I don't know, it just like, I feel like when I sharpen this Chanel one, it's like wasteful because it doesn't sharpen as nicely into a nice point as the MAC ones. So I really do appreciate that about the MAC ones as well. I've got the Farah Hamidi liners on my Sephora wish list for the upcoming sale. Ooh, I have to check those out. Thank you for sharing that. I love lip liners. I like experimenting with different ones, different colors, different formulas. I like never do my lips without a lip liner. It's kind of like a primer for me. I always have to use a primer. I actually do think that lip primers are kind of underrated. I have this one here by MAC. I also have the Anastasia one and the, which other one? The, what's this? Guerlain, the Guerlain one. It's not this one, but Guerlain has a lip primer. It's like a skinny gold one. I'm not finding it. Oh yeah, it's right here. It's right here. It's right here. And it actually is really good. I like it. Lip primers really help to blur the lines on the lips and just really like help your lipstick stay put. I don't bother with it normally if I'm just gonna wear a lip product like for a short period of time. But if I want it to stay all day, yeah, I've been going in with a lip primer. And I also recently picked up this Chanel, this is like their liquid lipstick. And I picked up, I already have the shade Mary Rose, which I love. It's a little bit more nude than this one in the shade Timeless Beige, shade 166. But this is such a classic formula. Love it. And if I just like really don't want to bother with my lipstick and I just want to throw it on in the morning and not have to worry about reapplying throughout the day, this one, highly recommend. Tried and true OG formula. Okay. The Tom Ford new lip liners are amazing. Very long lasting with the new Dior shades. Along with the new Dior shades. Thank you so much for that feedback and sharing that. Yes, I have one of the new Dior shades on my wish list as well. I have one of the Dior lip line, a couple of the Dior lip liners. I have one of the nudie shades that they had already, but they definitely needed that shade range extension. And so those are really good. Love those. And then the Tom Ford lip liners, I've heard so many good things about them. Like I've heard people say that they're goated, holy grail. The best of the best. Other than the one complaint I heard somebody online mention about the Tom Ford liners is about the packaging, where like kind of towards the, I don't have one to show you, but it has kind of like a gold strip on the end of it, and they were saying that it was like already fading and it wasn't even that old, so they were just kind of disappointed in that. But I don't know. Other than that, I feel like that's not that big of a deal if the actual product itself is that good, which I've been hearing it's really that good. Is this soaked in makeup remover? How am I getting stuff off so easily? No, it's not actually. I just redid my eyelashes before this. So only this part right here has like remover, but other than that, it's just all dry. I'm just like rubbing really hard. But yeah, I love these little washcloths where do they come from? They come in my packages when I order from AliExpress, Chinese brushes. These are just like, it's just the microfiber pattern on them. It's like perfectly soft and it just like has a good amount of fibers. So that's why I really like this. Scrubbing with muscle. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I've been working on my muscles. Okay. Lipstick. I have the Hermès lipstick here in the shade 11 Beige Naturel. And this is such a beautiful shade, isn't it? Gorge. It kind of reminds me of the Rose Ardent blush that I used. Look at that. Ooh, gorgeous match, isn't it? Gorgeous match here with the Hermès blush as well. Beautiful. You dampen one when you do, okay, have to scrub hard. I know. And it also, like, typically I have a hard time removing this Chanel lip liner because it's really that long lasting. The Hermès lipsticks. I'm curious to hear your thoughts if anybody has any of them. They're beautiful. Packaging, 10 out of 10. Love the magnetic closure. Love how it feels nice and heavy and luxe. Love how they have like the 3 different colors here and the Hermès emblem on top. Loved the packaging. It came with its own little like dust bag. And then in the dust bag was in this like other little container here, which has a very nice texture to it. It almost like it replicates leather, the way leather feels, except it's paper. And I just really appreciate the details in the packaging, how you can see like the strip of orange peeking through. Very luxurious. The lipstick, lovely formula, very comfortable on the lips. I have been enjoying it. I will continue to enjoy it. But would I say you have to like run and pick it up? No, it's comparable to other luxury formulas in my collection. What it really reminded me of was the Valentino lipsticks. And I do have one that even is very close to this shade. So if you have any of those, then I don't think that you're really missing out, but it is beautiful. I'm not mad about picking it up. Just taking this Bisotto lip brush here to kind of blend out the edges. And then I picked up one of their glosses as well. The packaging is great, but I'm not that impressed with the formula. I agree it's good, but not fantastic. I like the lip oil a lot better. Is this the lip oil that you have? I know that they have one other one, I think. Maybe it's this one that you're talking about. I have the shade 3 Rose Pitaya. And I don't know, I was torn between which color to get because I did hear lots of good things about this formula, and I am enjoying this formula. They have beautiful colors. But yeah, like the lipstick is good. It's nice. I appreciate it, but is it going to be like my holy grail lipstick? No. I love Tom Ford lipsticks too. Those are like really up there with some of the best. Yeah, it smells kind of fruity. No, not fruity. It smells like rose. You're right. It smells good though. I like it. I don't know. I kind of appreciate scents in my makeup sometimes. I'm not one that is like thrown off by that. It just adds to the luxury experience in my opinion. But I have been enjoying this lip gloss. The one thing I will say, like I like the packaging and stuff other than like the actual mechanism to apply it with. It doesn't apply enough. I don't know if it's just me because I have like real estate on my lips, but I find myself having to like continuously dip in to really pick up the product. The stoppers, like, I don't know, maybe the doe foot, it's just a little small. The one that I actually just held up for y'all, this Grwm one, I really appreciate the application doe foot mechanism on this one. This one's like really a pleasure to use on the lips. And I like this formula too. It's a good lip oil if anybody's wondering. Yeah, it's a doe foot for ants. Exactly. That's so funny. I totally laugh anytime I see that you write that in your description or whatever, because I completely know what you mean. People with thinner lips might enjoy it. True, you're right. So I'd like to hear your thoughts if you have this one and what you think. Yeah, okay, so it sounds, Yasmin, like you have the other formula, not this formula, and the other one smells more fruity. I do wonder how they compare. So if anybody has both of them, please share your thoughts. But yeah, I always have to do this because especially when I'm wearing my retainers, like right now, I hate getting that transfer. Okay, so if I had time, I was gonna slap something on my eyes. It's 4:29. Let's do it real quick, shall we? So I brought out this Bobbi Brown. This is the dual-ended longwear cream shadow stick. You think you have shade 4? Okay, yeah, this one is in the shade 3, Rose Pitaya, but I don't know if this is the same formula that you're talking about. And like I said, I did not pick up any of the eyeshadow quads from Hermès because I just couldn't decide. It was hard for me to choose. Maybe I'll just go in and showcase the new Rephr brushes. I've actually really been enjoying these brushes. I'll go in with the shade with number 0. Let me know if any of y'all picked up these Rephr brushes. I really have been enjoying them. And this is kind of like an underrated product in my opinion. These Bobbi Brown shadow sticks. So easy to just throw it onto your eye and go. The shade Mulberry is beautiful for the fall season. A little bit darker than what I usually go for, but I've been feeling vampy lately. I completely agree with your Hermès lipstick feedback. It's not one that you have to run and get. However, if you don't own a Tom Ford lipstick, that is one I highly recommend. Thank you so much for sharing that. The packaging in the experience and receiving it is the only good thing about the Hermès lipstick one. I totally agree with that. Okay, yes, Sea Salt Waves agrees with Luxe Beauty Atlanta about that. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I'm so glad I'm not the only one that feels that way. I agree, like Tom Ford's lipsticks, those are like some of my like top favorite formulas. The packaging is not as much of a luxury experience as you get with the Hermès packaging. I can't think off the top of my head how much I paid for the Hermès ones. They're probably comparable to the Tom Ford ones, which for a while were $50, but now I think they're $55. The Tom Ford lipsticks, I think right now are $55. So like if the Hermès ones are pricier than the Tom Ford ones, then I would probably just recommend people get the Tom Ford ones. The Tom Ford formula is great and their shades are gorgeous. They have such beautiful shades as well. Let's get this Pomeranian hair out of my eyelash. But yeah, so I'm curious to hear y'all's thoughts on this because this is something that like I've thought about that I'm kind of like torn on. Is like Would you rather pay more and have more of a luxury experience with the packaging, or pay less and just get like, just have all the money go into like how good the actual product is? Packaging does go a long way with me. Like, part of the reason why I love the Westman Atelier contour stick, for instance, is the packaging. Just getting to interact with this packaging in and of itself, like the magnet closure, the weight of it, the fact that it's nice and sleek and matte. I just, you know, all of those little details. The fact that, you know, on the lid it says Westman Atelier, like just the little like gold strip right here, just all of that. So I'm not going to say that packaging like doesn't matter, but if I'm paying an extra $10 for Hermès to include this little dust bag and then the little like orange box that it comes in, it's almost like I'd rather them just knock off $5 or $10, you know? So like, this is good enough packaging for me. It could just come in its plain little cartridge, and if I can pay less, I would be happy to. Yeah, the contour stick is really good though, for sure. And a little bit does go a long way in that Westman Atelier contour stick. So you'd rather pay more for a good formula if you had to choose. Yasmin, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I agree. It's like, as long as the packaging isn't terrible, like, this is my main complaint about this Mario one, is like, I've purchased this twice already and like it doesn't roll up anymore, and that happened to my previous one as well. And I'm just kind of like, really, like, can you not just like get a basic packaging to work? Like, it just totally deters me from buying any more Makeup by Mario. It's like lightweight, like the packaging can just be better overall in the Mario products, in my opinion. Although his new lipsticks in the black packaging, those are pretty good. I don't really have any complaints about his new lipstick formulas. And I'm curious to know if anybody's getting his new eyeshadow palette that he just dropped. That's exciting, isn't it? That one looks gorge, and it's also on my wish list for the Sephora sale. I hate how he makes his eyeshadow palettes limited edition. In his last one, people were mad about the fact that at first he said that they were limited edition, and then I think it appeared that he ended up making it permanent, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. But I don't think he should make them limited edition. I think he's just like wanting to start a bunch of hype, which I guess I don't blame the man. I mean, get your money right. So, okay, I just threw in a little bit of that mulberry shade on my under eye lid there, and then I'm just going to layer a little bit more on my eyelid. This is such a pretty shade because it's like layered, like without needing to use multiple colors. It just has like this really beautiful sparkle, but like it has depth to it. I'm not one to throw like a dark shade like this all over my eyelid, but it almost looks like I'm using more colors than just one color, doesn't it? Because of the depth that you can get. And this is a dual-ended one. So like on the other side is the shade Truffle. So why don't we just throw that onto the inner corner to kind of brighten things up. And I'm going in with the number 2 brush here from Rephr. I haven't heard much feedback in the Food Aid community from y'all about these new Rephr brushes. I'd love to hear your thoughts if anybody has picked them up. I have heard lots of good things about this cheek face one, the fluffy one with the maple leaves. Sometimes brands try to do the most with good packaging and it backfires. I'll take a squeeze tube any day over something gimmicky. Totally. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like, Yasmin, I know you had similar feelings with the Tatcha sunscreen. Like, this is such a beautiful formula, but like, I don't use it because look at this. It's just like you get these like purple flakes everywhere every time you use it. And I know that they switched up the packaging to where supposedly it doesn't flake anymore, but I think, Yasmin, you did say that it leaks. I think you traveled with it and you said it wasn't very travel friendly. So see, yeah, like that's the thing. Like, even though the Hermès, this tinted foundation that we use today is just like in your basic squeezy tube. I can't really complain because as long as like you said, the product inside is good. It travels well. It's not heavy. Like this is something that like I would not want to travel with. Yes, it's nice and luxe and it has like a glass container and stuff, but I'd rather forego the glass for something that is just more user-friendly on a day-to-day basis. And then I have similar feelings about the doe foot in this Hermès lip gloss than I do in the Suku concealer. I don't know, maybe some people would appreciate the fact that this does not dispense very much, but in my opinion, it doesn't dispense enough. But I do like the fact that it keeps it clean. You don't see it like leaking everywhere. I do appreciate the packaging on this Suku concealer otherwise. I don't know where it is right now, but I did also pick up oh, it's right here. This, I don't know if these are new by Suku or not. They're new to me. It's new to me, but this is what is it? Like, it's not a liquid lipstick because it's shiny, but I was pretty impressed with this formula. I tried to go off and order the most like nudie pink shade that I saw based on the online swatches. This is a shade number 3. This one's a good one too. But the first day when I was like using this new Suku makeup that I picked up, and by the way, I also picked up the highlighter. I do think that this one's new, but this is a beautiful highlighter. If I wasn't using the Hermès one today, I would have showed y'all this. They also have like a more goldeny shade, or no, it's like an opal, like a white shade, but I chose the pinkier one in the Suku one. It's hard to see the swatch probably, but this one's beautiful. But the first day when I was using these, I was in a rush doing my makeup before work, and like I went and grabbed this one thinking it was a concealer, and I just like swiped it on my under eye, and look at this shade, y'all. It's pretty intense. So I was like, OMG, I had to fix it. But this is beautiful on the lips. Okay. Yeah, so I also did just film for YouTube a video using the Byredo Mineralscapes palette that I picked up from Toshiya as well in this order. I know. Yeah, you should have seen me. I was like, oh my gosh. But this, oh my gosh, it really impressed me, y'all. It's probably the nicest eyeshadow formula I've ever tried in my entire life. But honestly, okay, you don't need this. Look at this shade Mulberry. Isn't that beautiful in the eyes? How it just like, it totally has this depth to it. It's hard to explain, but it looks like I used more than one shade on my eyelids, right? But along with like the Hermès blush, the lipstick that we used, this particular shade in this palette is great. It's a lovely shade to just like throw into your crease. Look at that. Like, it's just the perfect shade together with the rest of these beautiful like foresty, minerally type shades. It's so, like, the formula on the Byredo palette is so soft. This was my first purchase I've ever made from Byredo at all. Like, I haven't tried any other Byredo products. So impressed by this. Incredibly impressed. So, I know it's sold out, but Toshiya was able to get me one, and he still might be able to get you one if you're interested in that. Toshiya at Food Aid Japan can help you out. And because I was already placing an order for the Mineralscapes palette, I just decided to pick up the additional Suku products that I purchased. But I think that's pretty much the look, y'all. What do y'all think? Anyway, I have to run for church now, but I hope y'all enjoyed this live. Thank you so much to everybody who joined. I will be posting this live up on my YouTube channel at MakeupEsquire if you're not subscribed to me on there already. It's nice to see everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Stay tuned. Around this time, I try to do a Sunday live every week. I missed last week, so my apologies for that. But yeah, I try to get up on here around 3:30 to 4 p.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time. So watch out for future lives. Love y'all. Bye, everyone. Bye.